Okay. How are we going to do this? It's supposed to be a game review, but Brock Boeser re-signed when I was walking home, and I was like, I can't make a video because I'm gonna plan to make a video after the Canucks games, and no one's gonna watch a video made before the game because people are gonna be looking forward for the game. And I was like, okay, we'll leave everything just for this video. I have no idea how long this is going to be. We're covering Brock Boeser signing, and we're covering 2 games here in this one. First, Brock Boeser resigns for a contract that is only 3 years long, but is a contract that is very, very good. Brock Boeser is not the highest paid Canuck on the team, when he very well could have been. He could have gotten more money than Eriksson, than Myers, than Edler at $6 million, but he didn't. Brock Boeser is signed for 3 years at an average annual value of $5.895. That's a very specific number, and it's one that a lot of NHL fans are looking at and saying, damn, that's a crazy good contract for the short term. Now, you can say all you want about long-term implications and which one's better, long-term or the short-term, but for what we have today as a 3-year deal, $5.895 is darn good. This is a player who's going to get better. This is a player who's got 40, 30 goal potential next season, and who can legitimately be such a huge beast if he is able to play the entire year at a healthy rate. And right now, that contract is going to look like a really, really good steal in the short term. Now, his final year will be at $7.5 million, which means that the arbitration goes up to that much, which is fair. Because by the time Brock Boeser is 25 years old, if he projects in the way that he's supposed to project, he can very well get that amount of money on however long of a contract he pleases, maybe even more money. So Boeser, for now, he's on a great deal. Jim Benning does a great job with these RFA deals. You saw it with Bo a few seasons ago at his 5.5 by 6. You saw it with Sven Berchi a few years ago. You saw it with Levo. You saw it with all these guys. Brock Boeser is another one on that list. Now let's go on to the games. Now, the first game that actually started was 6 p.m. Vancouver time. It was in Calgary, and the live stream was actually done through the Calgary Flames and their website. Now, I will say I didn't watch most of this game, mostly because I tried, and the stream, although I very much appreciate there actually being a stream, the stream wasn't good. The stream would start really, really nicely. It would be HD for the first 20 seconds, but then it would just fade to garbage and it wouldn't really look legible at all. I'd reload the page and it would look great again for 20 seconds, but then it would look like trash again after 20 seconds, and it really didn't change the entire time. So I kind of gave up on that game. I got the updates on my phone from Sportsnet. So let's just go over what happened in that game. Richard Bachman, man, oh my goodness. Johnny Gaudreau's initial snipe at the beginning of the game to start things off was absolutely filthy. The Flames ended up getting another goal after that. I believe it was Frolik, but I didn't see it. And then all of a sudden, while I was watching the other game, which was going on in Victoria, I started getting all these notifications on my phone of Canucks scoring goals in Calgary. First, it was Mitch Eliot, who is a guy that the Vancouver Canucks picked up via free agency who played in the OHL. He drives one home from the point, and it squeaks through the goaltender. And then we get ourselves the shotgun, the doghouse, shotgun Jake coming back at it again with 2 goals and the eventual game winner in overtime. His first goal of the game in the third period to tie up this game was absolutely filthy. He comes in on the right side, he pulls up that left leg, and he absolutely rips it short side up high, finds the tiniest space on the goaltender, and Shotgun Jake has his first of the year. Twitter's freaking out, but not as much as they could have. If everybody had their eyes on this game, I think Twitter would have freaked out a little bit more, but people were watching the other game in Victoria because that one was on Sportsnet. So people were like, hey, Jake scored, nice. And then he went and did it again in overtime. Jake Virtanen comes in, he's got a ton of room, he drags it by the sprawled out defender, he holds it past the hash marks, through and through, and he absolutely rips it. I'll admit, Virtanen had so much space and time on that shot that I think any established NHL player probably would have scored that, but it's still really, really awesome to see that Jake Virtanen was able to absolutely rip it with pinpoint accuracy in such a close range in overtime to seal the deal for the Vancouver Canucks 3-2. But at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Vancouver Canucks started off their second game of the night against the Calgary Flames 2 in Victoria. Now this one I think I probably watched like 57 minutes of this game, so I got a really good feel of the players. Let's just go over the lineups real quick because that was really, really important. And I think that in itself was a really big indicator of what was to come. Now, the first line of the Canucks against the Flames in Victoria was Eriksson, Gaudette, and Levo. The second line was Gadjevich, Folk, Bailey. The third line, Goldolbin, Horvat, Miller. The fourth line, Boucher, Yashik, Lind. They actually had Yashik playing as a center, which I thought was really interesting. Then on defense, Ben Chatfield, Brisebois Tanev, Teves, Rafferty, and then for goalies, DiPietro and McIntyre. Let's go through pretty much the players. I don't want to go in chronological order of goals because it's just going to be Austin Czarnik a few times. He was really good, and JT Miller scored a goal off of his face in the Canucks net, which was terrible, but overall, going through these players, Loui Eriksson, okay, he got a goal in this one, which was crazy, crazy patience for him. He was holding the puck right there in the slot, dekes it over to the backhand, calmly gets it by the goaltender. That was the Canucks' first goal of this game, and that was a pretty nice-looking goal. I will say that Eriksson played a pretty safe game, and it's something that we've come to expect with Loui. I'm not going to demand anything else out of the guy. I mean, if he gets a goal a game, that would be really, really good. But going over into the other Canucks forwards, Adam Gaudette. Now, he was a player who I thought was pretty cerebral out there. He would go out there, scan the ice, take his shots when he could. He was really aggressive, and I like to see that. He had some really good chances, too. He really could have pot a goal earlier into, I think it was the third period, but he missed the net on the open opportunity. As for Josh Levo, he had some really good shots in this game. It's what you come to expect with Josh Levo. Really good heavy wrister and some pretty good offensive flair. As for that second line, Gadjevich, Folk, and Bailey, I didn't really see all too much of them. Maybe it's because they weren't really played all too much, but I did notice Gadjevich and Folk when they were there, but I don't think I really saw them there too often. Especially Gadjevich. I saw Folk steal the puck a few times, he was pretty good. Obviously, we've been kind of hyping Folk a little bit as a 5th round guy in the 2019 draft, but I didn't really see too much of him. I would have liked to see more. As for the third line, Goldolbin, Horvat, and Miller, I saw a ton of these guys. They played a lot. Goldolbin had some really good looks, really good flashes of offensive flair. He cradles the puck and controls it so well, like you know Goldolbin can. And as for JT Miller, the guy's an animal out there. He's got some really good instincts, good passes, really good shot selection, and a really good tenacity in the game. I loved watching what Miller was able to do. And he wasn't afraid to pull out those flashy moves once in a while. You saw him do the spinorama to get by the forechecking Flame in the defensive zone, which I thought was really, really dangerous, but it worked. So kudos to JT Miller. Bo Horvat in this game, he gets himself a goal towards the end. It's a give and go with JT Miller, which was really nice to see. Horvat got 60-something points playing with pretty much the entire team last season, so if he plays with Miller the entire way through, I can see him getting a lot of points, and I would be very, very happy to see that. As for that fourth line, Boucher, Yashik, and Lind. Yashik, I thought I would have wanted to see more out of him. I didn't really see as much as I would have liked to. Boucher had a really good shot in the third period, and, you know, you come to expect that with Boucher. He's got such a good wrister. And Cole Lind. Oh my goodness, what a dynamic offensive threat Cole Lind is. He's got such a nose for the net, such a high tenacity, and he was like a heavy stream, just going down there 100% at the time, and I was really impressed with what I saw with Cole Lind. Comment down below what you think, because I'm pretty sure he turned eyes the entire night. Moving on to defensemen, Ben, he took a few penalties, man, I'm not gonna lie, but he was pretty good with Chatfield. I thought Chatfield was a solid, sound defenseman for the position that he played, especially as a guy who's been mostly an AHL tweener his entire career. He had some pretty good speed, especially when he was back-checking trying to recover the puck against other forecheckers from the Flames. As for Brisebois and Tanev, Brisebois, he exhibited a calm game. He had some really good shots when he could have, and playing with Tanev, I think they had some really good exchanges overall. I think they complement each other quite well, and I would like to see Brisebois going forward into the future. Now, this is the most interesting defensive pairing. It's Teves and Rafferty. Now, Rafferty is a player who I was really impressed with, but I think if I had to label Rafferty, it would be, he's a player who's got some really good flashes and some really good instincts, as long as he doesn't hold on to the puck for too long. Because Rafferty, when he holds the puck for a few seconds in the defensive zone at least, that's when he makes mistakes, that's when he coughs it up, that's when the lack of maturity at the NHL level really shines, and he'd give the puck up, and he'd let the forechecker get to him, and he'd get it stolen away from him, or he'd have to force one of his other guys to recover the puck for him, and that happened a lot throughout this game. JT Miller, Teves, they each had Rafferty's back, which was great to see, but at the same time, if Rafferty is able to control himself effectively in the defensive zone, I think you have a really good shot at becoming a legit NHL player. And that's crazy for a college free agent guy who's the age that he is. I think he's 24. So that's what I thought about him. As for Josh Teves, I thought that Teves was the smarter among the two. And that's not surprising considering Teves is really smart in general. I mean, the guy is a mechanical engineer, right? He's gotta be pretty smart, eh? And he actually got himself a goal too, which was really good. He circles the net, makes room for himself, finds the open space, and snipes it on the goalie. So Teves is a player who I think he could have an NHL future if everything goes right, but in this game, I liked what I saw. As for the two goaltenders, Michael DiPietro is an athletic beast. Oh my goodness, the guy's flopping around everywhere, making these dynamic saves. He's giving up a few rebounds here and there, sure, and a lot of the pucks did escape through the crease and had to be cleared by the Canucks defenders, but overall, DiPietro's got his head in the game, and I love seeing his tenacity out there. And as for Zane McIntyre, the guy's a legit goalie. I was surprised at how good Zane McIntyre was in this game. He was stopping so many pucks, and sure, he let in one because it goes off of JT Miller's freaking face, but Zane McIntyre was so sound. He was square to the puck most of the time. All these really high shots and everything, he controlled really well with the shoulder. I thought Zane McIntyre had a great game despite only playing one period. And the Canucks ultimately lose this one 4-3, but they win the other one 3-2 in overtime because of Jake Virtanen, and I think that just about covers it, right? That's the game. I think I'm going to be really paying attention to what happens tomorrow against the Edmonton Oilers because that's going to be great too. Can't wait to see what goes on there, but for now, Brock Boeser signed, the Canucks won a game, and the Canucks also lost a game too. Hope you enjoyed this long game review. Social Cyanide, and bye.